without a doubt, our biggest game of the week, our featured game of the week. Number 13, Utah hosting number 8, Oregon. The Oregon Ducks are 7-point favorites. This is the 2:30 p.m. game on Fox. And Trey, this is a fantastic matchup from a uniform perspective, from a passion and fan base perspective. Also, when you look at a top offense in the country taking on an elite defense at home, the home team has won the last 4 games in this matchup. Where are you leaning as far as paying attention to various position groups, various matchups in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a true elite offense versus elite defense. Oregon's defense is nothing to sneeze at, Utah's figured out a lot on offense as well lately. But guys, this is a true, unstoppable force versus unmovable object situation. Utah's defense has not allowed 20 points at home yet, and their 78 yards per game given up on the ground is, one of the top numbers in the country. So Oregon's going to have to find a way to move the ball through the air against a pretty good secondary as well. And like I said, Utah has really found something on offense this last few weeks. Sione Vaki, the two-way star that has really been a highlight of their offensive game plan the last couple of weeks, is a big reason they beat USC last week. It's going to be a really interesting game. I think Oregon, it's also, I think, a playoff elimination game for sure. The loser of this game is done.
Yep.
Out of playoff contention for this year, and can start building for the 12-team playoff next year. But tons are at stake in Salt Lake City this weekend.
Garrett, I'm really curious to see how the running games for both of these teams operate. Oregon, as we previewed a couple weeks in a row now, Oregon's offense, yes, gets a lot of flash from Bo Nix throwing the football, but Bucky Irvin on the ground has been borderline unstoppable. He even got his against Washington, and the Huskies were able to overcome that, still win that football game. But Utah does primarily most of their damage on the ground as well, especially without Cam Rising throwing the ball through the air. Cam is done for the year, won't even get to take a snap. Talk to me a little bit about these running games and how you see that matchup playing out on Saturday.
Well, it's crazy because, we talk about a Pac-12 matchup and we expect to talk about, gunslinging and throwing the ball all over the yard. But you're right. These are two of the best running offenses probably in the country, just with what they're able to do. Bucky Irving, Jordan James over there for Oregon. And then, of course, Sione Vaki, Jaquinta Jackson running it for Utah. But the big factor for me here is also what they get out of quarterback run. Bo Nix doesn't run as much as you might expect him to, but he's effective when he does.
Yep.
And man, Bryson Barnes, man, what a game from him last week against USC. We talked about it on the recap pod, but a couple of huge pickups on the ground to extend their drive, and clearly not afraid of contact. He lowered the boom on that USC safety on that second to last big run that he had. When you look at both of these teams, they're going to have to throw the football. This is just a fact of the matter. They're going to have to throw the football. They're going to have to be effective through the air. But these two run games are going to get theirs. It is going to make this, I think, a relatively close, low-scoring game where, both teams are kind of keeping their possessions, having to make the most of it, and it's just going to be down to whatever team executes the best in terms of getting into the red zone and then punching that in for 6, not 3.
I like that a lot. You're singing my song, an elite defense at home. Listen, I don't think that streak of the home team winning 4 straight games is necessarily going to continue. I think Oregon is equipped to beat an elite defense, whether it's on the ground or through the air. But the low scoring element absolutely rings true for me. One last thing before we get to our picks. Did you guys see that Alex Grinch was saying there was no possible way they could have seen Sione Vaki running the wheel route so effectively? It wasn't on film beforehand, so we just weren't expecting it. And then all of the internet went and found multiple plays when he ran that against Cal. I mean, I tweeted out Alex Grinch watching film with a picture of Jamarcus Russell because that guy just makes himself a clown each and every week.
I don't even care if you've seen it on film. You have an athletic running back. He might run a wheel route.
Yeah.
I mean, have you never seen Utah run a wheel route before? Like,
seriously. Just
have you ever seen any team run a wheel route?
Yeah, just because the jersey number changes. That was the funniest excuse I heard
Guys,
all week
safeties
long.
aren't eligible receivers, so let's cut him a little bit of slack here.
He's asking for the flag on every single play. Yeah,
Hey, wait a minute.
two-way player, has an interception, has a couple of sacks this season, hard-hitting safety, but they found his versatility in the running game as well, over 200 yards on the ground, a couple scores. Watch out for Vaki this week. Guys, I'll lead us off with the picks. This falls right into my bread and butter, my personal grading rubric when I pick games, and it's elite defenses at home. I think Oregon does win this football game. I think they're the better team. I I could I could see Utah pulling off something similar to what they did last week against USC, but Oregon takes care of the football better than USC does. And without those turnovers, I don't think that Utah is ultimately able to win the game. But low scoring contest at home, they're going to keep Oregon on their heels. I think the majority of this contest, I'll take 2 of the 3 outcomes and go with the Utes plus the points here.
I am with you on the lower scoring. I think this is a game somewhere in the 27-17 range. What concerns me about Utah, look, their defense plays at another level at home. I know that, but Bo Nix is still the guy that we thought was a true Heisman contender earlier this year before the Washington game. This is still a team on the mission that feels like they can make the college football playoff and avenge that Washington loss. So I think they're going to come into Salt Lake City ready to take care of some business. And Utah, that was a big emotional win for them last week. I think it's going to be a little bit of it's hard to get that up 2 weeks in a row. And now, to Grinch's credit, Vaki is on film, I guess. So Oregon can be ready for a wheel route here and there. I think it's a close game. I think Oregon pulls away late, 27-17 range for me. I'll take Oregon to cover.
Yeah, Trey, I think you're pretty spot on with that. I'm also picking Oregon minus the 7. I think that this could be a really close game, but my big thing here is I need to see Bryson Barnes do it one more time before I can believe that this is a consistent output. I need to see him do one more big game, and this time maybe against a good defense. This is a really good defense that Oregon trots out there. Look, they're both going to want to run the football. They're both going to want to establish the run on the ground. They're both going to get theirs. Who's going to pass more effectively? I believe in Bo Nix not making mistakes. I believe in Troy Franklin being able to make plays downfield. I don't think that Utah has that as consistently. And so I think that this turns into more scoring for Oregon, a few more touchdowns than field goals. And I'm going to pick Oregon minus 7 here.
Leaving me alone on the bleeding edge out here with Utah plus the points.
It hurts to pick against my Utes, man. It hurts.
I'm sure it does. You mentioned Troy Franklin, 6th in the country in total receiving yards. He has been Mr. Reliable for Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks. Let us know in the comments on Twitter who you're picking in this game. It's a very tasty line, +7 or -7, I guess, if you're going the Ducks. Very, very difficult line to pick. Vegas knows what they're doing, and our team is obviously split on that.
Gracious him. How about